Yeah, g'day guys, Steve here from Factory Restos Australia. You thought Factory Restos was all about cars, didn't you? You were wrong. This is a 1975 Kawasaki MC1B. This is one of the first restoration projects that I took on for a long time. As I say, we used to muck around with cars when we were younger, but sort of didn't like necessarily restore them, just did them up a bit and that sort of stuff. But once we had kids, of course, life gets busy and whatnot. As my son grew up, he was just starting to get into motorbikes. This bike was sitting in my father-in-law's shed, covered in dust, wasn't running, and I said to my son, let's go grab it and we'll fix it up together. So that's exactly what we did. And he's ridden it a few times, and yeah, it's been a bit of fun. Sort of like haven't done a full factory resto on it. You can see it's just a rattle can spray job. We did strip it all out. We've had the engine out of it, completely rebuilt, a new clutch, and just a carby service. And then obviously the rattle can sprayed the frame, and then the rattle cans sprayed the tanks and the headlights and the bits and pieces. As I say, new clutch in it, new chain, sprockets. Got some guards made up, the plastic liner there and the plastic front guard. Got them made up in America. A guy I sort of got in contact with, he was a backyard operator. He made me up the guards. And apart from that, we haven't done too much. We're just waiting on a new fuel tap. The old fuel tap's sort of given up on it, so it's leaking a bit of fuel. So we're just waiting on that to come in. I can get those, buy those out of America, the original ones. So yeah, this is the first restoration project for a while. As I say, got my son involved, so it was a bit of fun. We're now on to the 78 Falcon, of course, Ute, the GS Rally Pack, and I've got another motorbike just over there too that this one's probably going to go back to the brother-in-law. He's got some grandkids now that are getting to the age where they'd probably start to enjoy this bike, so it was never my intention to keep it. Otherwise I would have done a full factory restoration, so it's not my bike to keep. So yeah, we tried to keep the cost down. I think I probably spent about four and a half, something like that, whereas if I did a full factory resto, it probably would have been up around the 10 grand. So you can't get a lot of parts for these older bikes. A little bit difficult being a 74 model. Anyway, it's a 1974 Kawasaki MC1B, as I said. It's a 90cc two-stroke. It's got a rotary disc valve, so it hasn't got reed valves, a rotary disc valve on the far side. I'll grab the camera and have a walk around in a little minute. But yeah, it's a 90cc, 5-speed, all up. No, not one down, 4 up, which is quite unusual. Drum brakes front and rear, a 14-inch rear and a 16-inch front. Quite an interesting little bike, about I think a 700mm seat height. And I think the wheelbase is about 1100, so most bikes these days are around about the 14 to 1500 wheelbases. So these bikes were quite small little bikes. And very interestingly, road registerable in the time. So you can see it's got the headlight on it and the massive tail light here. Although I've got the headlight working and the tail light working and the brakes working, brake lights working. But the indicators were thrown away a long time. But they used to have these massive chrome indicator stamps sticking out here with a huge big, like about a 3-inch indicator on them, and same out the back here they had this massive what's the name that used to come out here, but they were thrown away years ago. But anyway, it's the main thing is it's the engine's all been brought back up to spec. It's running really well. As I say, it's not my bike. I didn't want to spend too much money on it, but certainly I got it running and back in service again, so to speak. So I'm going to grab the camera now, just have a little quick walk around, because this bike's got to go back to the brother-in-law, as I say. So we're sort of finished with it. We have ridden it a fair bit, so there's a couple of marks on it. It's not perfect anymore, but anyway, it's like I say, a bit of a patina restoration. But I'll grab the camera, we'll walk around and we'll just run over what we've done to the bike. So as I say, a 73 Kawasaki MC1B, two-stroker, all up gears, 5-speed. Quite small wheels, like I said, 14-inch rear, 16-inch in the front. Quite simple little chain, not a 0.52 chain. I think it's a smaller chain. But yeah, road registerable, the old twin shocks on the back. I haven't had anything done to the suspension because I didn't want to open that can of worms. The front forks probably need fork seals, but I doubt I'd actually get them. I have cleaned up the chrome a little bit, but it was in pretty poor condition. But yeah, as I say, haven't touched the suspension. Was able to get brake shoes for it, so new brake shoes in it. as I said, I found this guy in America who was quite happy to make some guards for me. He said, yeah, no, I've been asked about those before. And so he made up a mould and made the guards for him. He said, yeah, I'll be able to sell a few of these if I make the mould. So yeah, I was the first, I was the prototype. As I say, 90C two-stroke, air-cooled, rotary disc. Carb is actually in underneath there. So there's no reed valve at the back of the cylinder. Carb is in underneath there. Air-cooled, pretty simple little beast. Yeah, and the air comes into the engine chamber, sort of, that's the air filter there. And carby there, so that's actually open to atmosphere, so that sucks the air through in there, in through the carby, and the fuel comes in down through here. As I say, we're just waiting on a new fuel tap for that one. Yeah, so that's the air cleaner there, and it's got an inlet sort of up on the top underneath the tank there. This is an oil injected bike. So this is an oil tank, so you don't mix it, you just put normal unleaded. We're actually supposed to run on unleaded, we put some additive in it. And this is two-stroke oil that runs down here. There's a little pump here that works off the throttle, and so that pumps oil in and comes into the inlet on the outside of the carby, so to speak. But yeah, again, drum brakes back here, twin shocks. But yeah, quite an interesting little bike. My son's ridden it a fair few times. You can see it's just a bit of a patina restoration, nothing too special. But yeah, new tyres, as I say, new clutch, rebuild on the engine, sprockets, chain and sprockets. It's all come up pretty good. Very happy with it in the end. And a little bit of, I'm not going to say it's chrome work, that's just a little bit of stainless tube. I chucked that on the end. The actual tail of the muffler's long gone. Dave said he did anything he could to get more power out of it, so that was one of the things he did. He took their little exhaust on. They used to have a little exhaust that would run out here, and it would come around the shock, and it was only about, probably less than an inch in diameter. So he ripped that off and threw that away to try and get some more power. But there you go, that's my first restoration project. As I say, it's not all about cars with factory restos. I've got a bike right behind me now, and we'll, at some stage or other, we'll get working on that. But at the moment, I've got other priorities. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode.